creating cultural awareness and understanding. This is Culture Clique. Culture Clique is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University.
Today on Culture Clique, we talk about this Saturday's ice fishing tournament being held on East Lake Winona. The tournament is being hosted by the WSU Fishing Club. I sat down with club president Blake Tinsley to find out more about the tournament and the fishing club. Stick around and find out how you can take part in the fun this Saturday. I'm Bill Stoneberg with WSU Fishing Club president Blake Tinsley, today on Culture Clique. I'm here today with Blake Tinsley. He's the president of the Winona State Fishing Club. How you doing today, Blake?
Good, Bill. How are you?
Pretty good. It's always fun. I love having you guys in because I just think it's an awesome thing that we have a fishing club here on campus. We're in a great location for it, right on the river. We got a couple lakes here in town, lots of little holes everywhere, So I just think it's a great thing, and it's good to have you guys on. One thing I want to mention before we really get into things here is also you guys have a fishing tournament, an ice fishing tournament going on this weekend. That'd be February 25th, so that's this Saturday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., and that's at Lake Winona, the East Lake.
Yes, sir.
So East Lake, yeah. So by the JC Pavilion. So, and that's kind of, let's see, I guess that's towards the Mankato side of the lake there, right? That pavilion.
Yep. Yeah. So we were renting out the JC Pavilion for the pre-tournament meeting and then also for measuring the fish afterwards. So we've got some shelter outside of the elements if it's snowing or whatnot. But yeah, we're launching out of that lake, the boat ramp right next to JC Pavilion.
Okay.
The fishing's from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., but it's from 8 to 3, so people can get there an hour early so we can get everybody signed in and all of that stuff.
Right.
That takes some time.
Cool. And then fishing ends at 2?
Yes, sir.
Is that okay? So then when you have a weigh-in and things like that, what are the places or prizes that people can shoot
so
for?
we're measuring the fish instead of weighing because, when you're ice fishing, you can get some snow on the fish or they get slimy and, if you're using a bucket or whatnot, it can mess with the weight. So we're just doing the overall length. Okay. So the way it works is the person with the longest 5 fish, and it's panfish. So, bluegills, sunfish, black, white crappie, perch. You take the overall length, and then the person in first place is going to get 35% of the total pot. Second place is 15%, and third place is 10%. Okay. And that's 60% of the pot. And then the other 40% goes into our school funding account so that we can travel around the country and fish bass tournaments and stuff like that.
Right.
So
cool. So this is a real good kind of a fundraiser for the club, right? And you mentioned going around and doing tournaments and stuff around the country. How much of that do you guys do, and where do you go?
So
where's the farthest you go?
Yeah. So it's different every year. But so we fish up until this year. We fished 2 main organizations, and then this year, us and then some of the Big Ten schools and other schools around the Midwest and Northwest actually founded our own tournament trail because the other 2 big organizations they didn't have anything that worked for us. So we fished MLF College Series and Bassmaster College Series. Okay. And now starting this year, we're going to fish the Mid-Northern Collegiate Bass Coalition, or MCBC. So we've got 11 or 12 tournaments this year. Okay. There's some as far as California that we're just probably not going to go to because it's a 3-day drive. But with the new MCBC, we've got a lot around here that kind of feature the good fisheries in the Midwest and Northwest that people don't really talk about. So on April 1st, we're going down to Clinton Lake in Illinois, and then we've got Lake Okoboji on April 29th, and then there's a tournament on Lake of the Ozarks here in a few weeks. There's a lot of good fisheries, like I said, around Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and then, there's tournaments down obviously in Texas and in North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, all those places. Right. So, yeah. Do
you guys ever hold a tournament up here, like on the river or anything like that?
Yeah. So, our main fundraising thing that we do every year is the annual ice fishing tournament. Just because you don't need a boat, it's much easier to get out ice fishing than it is to go bass fishing. But we typically host club tournaments and stuff where people from the community can come out. But it's not really a fundraising thing. It's just more of a everybody throws $20 in, and the winner gets
Cool.
gets the money. But
Cool.
yeah,
Just more of a community event then.
yeah, for sure.
Nice. I like that. So you guys bring a lot of good stuff. I
Yeah.
like that. That's really cool. Where are you from originally, Blake?
So I was born in Texas, and then I moved up here when I was younger, and I'm from the Twin Cities. So, when I came down to Winona, I drove through the lakes, and that's how I knew I wanted to go here. I looked up
Nice.
I looked up schools with the best fishing, and then I saw Winona was on there, and I drove through the 2 lakes, and I just love being out in the country and having wilderness and hunting
Right.
and fishing. So
Oh, wow.
that's how I chose Winona.
So when you looked up schools and you're looking for the best fishing areas, where did Winona rank? Like
So,
in that,
there's fishing schools for bass fishing where you can get like a full ride scholarship and stuff like
Oh,
that.
wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
I didn't know that existed. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They've got school boats and stuff, but I was just looking at schools with the best, surrounding areas of fisheries. And
Right.
obviously the Mississippi River is, pool
It's a big
pool
one.
5, pool 6, pool 7 are some of the best in the country. So
Mm-hmm.
it was up on the list. I think it was like 4 or 5 just for like
Oh, wow.
surrounding areas, because we have, some of the best trout streams in the United
Right.
States are here in Winona County. And then you've got the 2 lakes, and then you've got the river. So there's just so many diverse fisheries that there's access to within a 10 to 15 minute drive.
Right. Yeah.
So,
totally.
yeah.
Totally. I'm glad you brought up the trout fishing. That's because I know that's a big thing here. It's a real good area for it. I've always wanted to do it. I've never trout fished here in Minnesota. I'm from across the river in Wisconsin.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you where, but have you trout fished in Winona County? I
Yeah.
want to
So
know that.
we have a family cabin up north, and that's like the first time I really trout fish, and it's on a lake.
Okay.
So it's much different than
Different,
fishing
yeah,
on a
lake
stream,
trout,
obviously.
yeah.
But I've got some buddies that go out and do it, and I think it's really cool too. The Minnesota DNR is amazing. Like their programs and how well they take care of their habitats is really good. So I might be incorrect, but I believe there's 50,000 acres of public easement in the Winona County and surrounding areas. And what that means is you can park on the road, and all bodies of water are public water or are
Right.
public. So if you want to get in and walk up the river, you can. But an easement is like a 15-foot stretch on either side of the river, sometimes through people's property or, public areas, and you can just walk down that and fish. So there's been days where there's some waterfalls and stuff around here that it's really easy access, and then there's some where we just park on the side of the road and walk a mile up the creek and try to find some trout. But
Right.
typically, if I have time to fish, I'm out on the boat, going
Yeah.
after largemouth or smallmouth. But I always do like to get out there with a little rod and trout
Right.
fish, because they fight so well.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's
Yeah.
so much fun. So since you're from Texas and came up here to school, what year are you? How long have you been here?
So I've been in Minnesota most of my life. I go down there a lot, and that's where, the fishing style down there is so much different. And
Right.
we have a ranch with a lake out there.
Nice.
So I grew up fishing, like Texas rigs and stuff a lot more versus like the finesse stuff in Minnesota. And fishing down there is just it's so much better. You got a lot bigger fish.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've been in Minnesota most of my life.
Okay.
So I'm a sophomore here at Winona State.
Okay.
So I've got 2 years left, and then I don't know what the future holds, but
Right.
yeah.
Right. Cool. Probably a big tournament fisherman, huh?
yes, sir. Yeah.
What is your major here at school?
So I'm a business administration major.
okay. Nice.
Yeah, I currently do not have a minor, but I'm thinking of a minor in either sales or marketing.
Right. Okay. So maybe someday I'll be buying your lures or something,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. So that's one really cool thing about the fishing program we have here. We have a little over 20 companies that sponsor us, whether that's discounts or the beef jerky place here in town.
Right.
I don't know if I can say their name on
Yeah.
here.
Well, we could say it. Well,
yeah.
bleep it out if I have to.
Yeah,
So
Kick-Ass
right?
Beef Jerky.
Yeah.
They give us some jerky. They're great, but a lot of different companies where we can get discounts from them on lures and stuff.
Okay,
And then
nice.
in return we market for them. And then from that, there's some companies that sponsor me personally. And that's really helped me grow my marketing abilities, and then also save money, because fishing is not cheap.
Right. Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, so it's definitely opened my eyes to that, and it's something that I've thought about for sure, is
Right,
making my own
definitely.
lures. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the bargain bins at the big box stores.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
those are always great.
Do you guys do any other fundraisers throughout the year? Like, do you ever do like a fish fry or something like that?
I know a few times in the past we have somebody had all the materials to do a fish fry and stuff, and it's not something that I would be opposed to. Excuse me. We definitely do try to we're trying to fundraise more now. Whether that's going to local companies like Daw Toyota was generous enough to give us some money this year. And then you can work at like the games here on campus, like basketball and football games through Chartwells to fundraise. But yeah, so we're not doing a fish fry this year, but we're definitely looking for other ways to fundraise and make more money so we can, afford to go to more tournaments and travel and stuff like that. So,
Right. So like the ice fishing tournament, I'm just going to say this again so everyone out there knows, Winona State University Ice Fishing Club, or Fishing Club, rather, is having an ice fishing tournament this Saturday, February 25th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Fishing starts at 9. Bring your catch back at 2, I'm assuming. Then you can, right? Yep. Fishing ends at 2, so you guys can decide who the winner is and stuff. So is there anything else people should know about the tournament or things like that?
Like I said, this is the annual ice fishing tournament fundraiser that we do every year. So as I stated before, it's a 60-40 split. And then there's also, and that's for the longest length of panfish.
Right.
And then there's also an optional $5 big pike pot. So in Minnesota, or at least the way we're doing it, you can't keep any northern pike under 24 inches, but you can put in an additional $5 at the beginning of the tournament, and then whoever has the longest pike will get that entire pot.
Cool.
If you guys are looking for the flyer and you're not here on the Winona State campus, you can find us on WSU Fishing Club on Instagram or Winona State Fishing on Facebook, and you can see our poster and all the information on there. And there's also an early registration. There's a QR code and a link to a Google form. And if you do that, you get $5 off when you come to sign up, just so the early registration helps us with seeing how many people are going to be out there and planning and stuff like that. We also will have people available to drill holes. So maybe you have an ice pole, but you don't have an auger or something like that. We'll have members of the club out there drilling holes and helping people with whatever they have or whatever questions they have.
So if someone doesn't have like a lot of experience ice fishing or anything like that, are you guys available to kind of help people get started? Or
yeah, so we definitely, if somebody needs a knot tied or they need a hole drilled, that's something we can definitely help with. I know in the past we put on like a little seminar. We are not doing that this year. So we don't have any stocks of like ice rods or lures or stuff like that. So if you don't have any, it's going to be hard to fish because we don't have any extras. It's definitely something we're open to again in the future, but just with the members we have, and we had a pretty low turnout last year too, so I wanted to make sure that we could kind of market it and make it more of a known thing again before we do all of that. So,
right. Yeah. Well, if there's people out in the community, because I'm thinking to myself, like, I've got some stuff at home that I don't use a lot. Like, if there's people who want to donate stuff to you guys to like do more of that in the future, is there a way what's the best way for them to get a hold of you, I guess?
So if Sorry.
No worries.
Didn't lose my ringers on. So for cash donations, you can make them out to the Winona State Fishing Club through the Winona State University. And then for gear donations, you can reach out to me personally. If you go to the Instagram or Facebook, or even if you go on the Winona State University website, and you can go to, it's called the Sports Club page. You can find the Winona State University Fishing Club on there, and you can find my personal cell phone number as well as my school email. And feel free to reach out with any questions, or if you guys want to donate any gear, that would be much appreciated, so we could do things like that in the future. I also wanted to add that we do have some goodies from our sponsors that we're going to be giving away during the ice tournament. So the smallest panfish will be getting a kick-ass beef jerky prize pack because, sometimes the fish just aren't biting, and it's always fun to see, the smallest panfish somebody can bring in. And then we've got some stickers and stuff from TNT Tackle and some lures, and that's just going to be a random giveaway at the end of the day. We'll just run it through a generator or whatever, and whatever number we pick that correlates with the name in the Excel spreadsheet, they'll get some lures or some stickers or whatever, just to make it fun for everybody.
Cool. Oh, that sounds fun. I got a question for you, but first I'm going to tell a real brief story. Speaking of smallest fish, I just a few years ago, I just started to, and I grew up fishing this river, right? But I always just fish panfish and northerns, bass, and never really got out early enough or hit the right timing or fished right for walleye, right? So I started really getting into walleye fishing, and it was rough for me at first, and I didn't catch anything. But one afternoon, I caught a walleye minnow on a rapala that was bigger than the minnow. And it's hilarious. I have a picture of it,
I've done that once or twice too.
Yeah, have you?
I caught a perch that was smaller than the swim bait I was using.
Yeah,
I'm like, how did that even happen?
It's just funny. It's so funny. What's your best fishing story from like around here?
From around Winona, or just like?
Well, yeah. If you got one, otherwise, if there's a better
I guess
one.
for around Winona, I've been here for a year now. There's a pond around here where I went out last year and I tried it for the first time in the spring, and I ended up catching like 100 fish between bass and crappie. And I went out during the ice, and I think I caught like 150 crappie in like a day between the two of us.
Dang.
And then this, not as great for me, but a pretty funny story for everybody else. I was fishing a college tournament down in La Crosse on pools 7 and 8. And it was, I didn't have much experience fishing the river, being from the Twin Cities and all, and
right.
I bought my first boat last year. So we were doing really good in practice, actually. Like we had enough weight to where if everything went right tournament day, we probably could have qualified for nationals. You never know, but
right.
It was looking good. And then an hour before we were getting off the water the day before the tournament, I was trying to cut through a channel, and I blew my lower unit out on a stump. So all my friends think it's funny. I don't think it's too funny, but that
maybe
was
someday you can laugh.
That's one thing I will always remember about fishing the river, is being so excited and all that. And then, the weights we had in practice the 2 previous days qualified people for nationals. So a little butthurt about that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing the river will teach you eventually. It'll bite you.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
You got to be careful out there for sure, and watch the water levels. Because things change all the time.
Yeah, I was going through a cut, and there was like a beach on this side and a bunch of trees on this side, and I was like, well, I'm going to go by the side without stumps, and apparently you're supposed to run past the trees because there's a little stump on a sandbar.
Oh,
so.
Wow. Yeah. It happens.
Always be careful when you're out there, and wear your life jacket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Speaking of gear, what would you recommend people, this weekend, especially if they've just gotten started ice fishing, stuff like that? There's things people often forget. Like for me personally, cleats are real important.
Yeah.
Are there things you would recommend people bring?
Yeah. So I think a great tool, like I said before, the Minnesota DNR does a great job of everything. A great tool is going onto their website, and they have manuals and safety instructions and stuff like that you can go over. But real quick, obviously, gloves, a coat. Snow pants, a good pair of gloves, because it's supposed to warm up Saturday, but you also never know
right.
It's
with your hands getting wet.
Yeah,
all
but it's
the
always
time.
iffy. Especially with your hands getting wet. Good snow and cold weather protection. You don't need the fanciest stuff. Obviously, you need a line or a rod, a reel, some scissors, a lure, and some bait. But you could get by with pretty much a rod, a reel, and a jig and a worm, but. Safety-wise, it's even when there's a lot of ice, it's always a good idea to have ice picks. For those who don't know what those are, they're just little spikes you put around your neck, where if you fall through, you can stick them into the ice and pull yourself out. There's trucks and ice houses out there, sure, but you never know. You always want to be safe. Have a partner, or make sure that people can see you, or if you're going out with a friend, have a plan. It never hurts to be prepared.
Right, yep. Totally. As far as bait goes, will there be like extra bait out there, anything like that, or is it bring your own?
Yeah, so we're not providing any bait.
Okay.
However, so you can see in the tournament rules are posted on the early registration as well, the full flyer, and I'll go over it the day of the tournament.
Okay.
But for anybody listening right now, all live bait is allowed. There's no restrictions on that. However, you can't spear or gaff fish. They must be caught in the mouth. You can't snag them. But yeah, minnows, worms, all of that's allowed.
Okay.
And you can get that stuff at Ace Hardware or at Fleet Farm.
I don't think we have a standalone bait shop anymore in town.
No, we don't. There's some in La Crosse, like Island Outdoors and stuff like that. But here in town, Ace Hardware's got minnows and they've got pretty much everything.
Yeah, so Well, cool. Do you think there's anything else we missed that we need to tell people before they get out there? You know, I think you said Facebook and Instagram are the best ways to kind of
Facebook and Instagram. And that once again, that's WSU Fishing Club on Instagram and Winona State Fishing on Facebook. There's two groups. There's a private one and a public page. It's the public page.
Okay.
Like I said, that's Winona State University Fishing. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to text or email me. My number's on there as well.
Okay.
And like I said, try to be there by 8 o'clock, either at JC Pavilion or that boat ramp that's right there.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's parking all up along the street. So we're going to try to keep the boat ramp at 50% maximum for people fishing the tournament so that people who aren't fishing the tournament can park there as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But there'll be members for the fishing club all up and down the street and kind of everywhere. So if anybody has any questions, we can do that. And then right at 8 a.m., we will start checking people in, and then I will read over the tournament rules one last time. And, hopefully it'll be a really fun day. There might be a lot of snow and it might be cold, but as long as the ice is safe, which it should be because it's it was safe the other day and it hasn't been above 32 colder now. Yeah, right. It's getting colder. So, and if there's for any reason it doesn't happen, I'll be there that day too, just in case anybody shows up, and then nobody has to pay beforehand, so there's no worries about refund or anything.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm glad you mentioned that entry fee, $20, right?
Yep, $20 entry fee, and then like I said, the early registration, the Google Doc will go right into our Excel page, so we know who registered early, and that's actually $5 off. So
cool.
It's $15 entry fee for anybody who registered early, and then
excellent.
Yep, there's the $5 optional. Big Northern, Big Pike Pot as well.
Right. Sounds good. Yeah, so get online and get to Winona State Fishing on Facebook. And then, what was the Instagram?
WSU Fishing Club.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
Yeah, get on there and register. You get $5 off your entry, $15 for the tournament. So, Blake, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, Bill.
Joining me today. I just like we were talking before we turned the mics on. Fishing's a passion of mine as well. So I think this is fantastic that you guys do this. I think it's really beneficial to the community, and I just think it's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And thanks for wearing your fishing shirt today, Bill.
Yeah, I couldn't help it. I was like, oh, this is a perfect day to wear this.
Yeah.
People out there can't see, but I'm wearing a Rapala shirt today. So,
yep.
Like I said, this is something near and dear to my heart. I think it's fantastic, and it's cool to get people involved in it that might not otherwise. So I think that's a really good opportunity you guys provide for people. Thanks a lot. And next time you guys do a tournament, let's do this again.
For sure.
For sure. So thanks a lot, Blake, and hope we get a lot of people out at the tournament Saturday.
Yeah, me as well. Thank you.
Thanks again to Blake Tinsley, president of the Winona State University Fishing Club, for joining us today on Culture Clique. To find out more about this Saturday's tournament, or just to learn more about the Fishing Club, go to Winona State University Fishing on Facebook or Winona State Fishing Club on Instagram. To keep up on all things Winona and the surrounding area, tune into Culture Clique Thursdays at 12:30, right here on 89.5 KQAL. I'm Bill Stoneberg saying good luck, stay safe, and have fun on the ice this Saturday.
Creating cultural awareness and understanding. You've been listening to Culture Clique. Support for Culture Clique is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Culture Clique is produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. For more information, look us up on the web at kqal.org. And thanks for listening to Culture Clique.